Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we are going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons, and we are specifically going to talk, and I'm going to collect the I done told you check that I have coming to me for everyone starting to discuss Dungeons and Dragons and politics on the same channel, and it's showing up everywhere. And I just want to give you one of the most unusual examples of it and talk about someone else talking about Dungeons and Dragons and politics. So I think what's really fascinating is, so first of all, the pattern is Scott Garibay does it 5 years ago, and then everybody arrives today. Like, it's just, so I've been talking about Dungeons and Dragons and politics for a long time, and and so I talk about Dungeons and Dragons, and I talk about politics on the same channel, and everybody looked at me sideways, and I got a lot of grief over it, right? Like, oh, you shouldn't, people would come up in the comments and say, oh, you shouldn't do this. This is really not a good idea. And I want to be super clear. Right? If you're a content creator, you need to build a space where you can talk about what you're excited about, right? And or you become the next Finn McKenty, right? Like making video after video after video, commenting on something you don't care about, right? Like you need to talk about what you're passionate about. But the reality is, the reason why I talked about Dungeons and Dragons and politics all the time together is Dungeons and Dragons is fundamentally it is a vector for American political speech. Period. End of sentence. And it has been for a long time. And the reason why I'm taking the time to talk about this is everybody's here now, right? Like, so basically, when did the dam break? When did everyone start talking about Dungeons and Dragons and politics in the same video? Elon Musk. Elon Musk came and gestured at buying Dungeons and Dragons, and Elon Musk is a centimeter away from American King Donald Trump, right? So it's all politics all the time. But what I think is interesting is, what were you guys? What did you think? Right, like Dungeons and Dragons was unbelievably political from day one. Extremely progressive. Dungeons and Dragons has always been a progressive product. On February 7th, 1974, you got Gary Gygax saying, "Hey, doesn't matter what gender you are. If you're a man, play a woman. If you're a woman, play a man." Right? That was on February 7th, 1974, day one. Incredibly progressive. In 1983, he's like, who plays Dungeons and Dragons? White Americans, black Americans. Progressive, and they play together. Progressiveness. Who plays together? Men and women. Gender equality. Like, it's always been about political speech. All right? So let's get to the point of today's video. All right? So there were still some holdouts, right? So everybody looked at me sideways until Elon Musk literally gestured at buying Dungeons and Dragons. And then everybody's all talking about D&D and politics and doing exactly what I'm doing every day, right? But this is where it gets interesting. There were still some holdouts. There's still some people put their nose up in the air and, oh, no. Dungeons and Dragons is just a silly little game. We don't need to talk about politics here. But it's getting to the point where it's utterly ridiculous, right? And so let me give you evidence that it is absurd to pretend that Dungeons and Dragons is anything. It is not primarily a American political speech engine, right? And that is D4 D&D deep dives, right? So this guy, he is the opposite of my channel. He just talks about, and honestly, I think I spent 5 minutes on his channel, right? And what he does is he builds characters and then tells you how to build a character. And then this shocked me. People are paying him for this. He is making money doing this. That is his day job. What? Okay. All right. So, and the reason why I don't understand this is, what fool would pay this guy, right? Like, who pays somebody to ride the roller coaster for them? No one. It makes no sense. Okay. So first of all, if you don't know, making Dungeons and Dragons characters is incredibly enjoyable, and you don't need anyone to tell you how to do it. All right, like the idea that you're gonna go get a recipe to create a Dungeons and Dragons character, all that's gonna happen is you're gonna end up with a character that's incredibly duplicative and sucks. Right? Like, so I am astonished that D4. I did not know this. I did not know that D4 D&D deep dives Actually, it's his day job to tell people how to make Dungeons and Dragons characters. What? Like that is shocking. I knew he had a channel. I had no idea people were paying him money for it, right? And I genuinely have no idea how anybody pays him a single dime. And the reason why is like, who on earth needs like somebody to who's going to pay somebody else to ride the roller coaster for them? It's just utter absurdity. I have no idea why anybody would do this, right? But it is happening. All right, now I just illustrated my shock. I am going to say I am very happy about this in that I am very aware. So, okay, if you rub D&D on you, it's going to turn into gold, okay? Now, that gold is going to be literal or figurative. Matthew Mercer has figured out how to make it literal, right? D4, D&D Deep Dive, has turned out to how to make it literal, right? I have been rubbing D&D on me since, for a long time, and it's always been figurative. And honestly, that's why I have this channel. I'm telling you right now, Dungeons and Dragons is not a game. It is a human improvement engine. It is designed by Gary Gygax, in my humble opinion, from February 7th, 1974, to do nothing but improve, grow, and transform humans. That is its purpose. That is what it's for. That's what we use it for. So yeah, like that's the main reason. Now, what's really interesting is, and so that has turned into gold for me in that I have multiple libraries because of Dungeons and Dragons. I love narrative because of Dungeons and Dragons. I've had many friends because of Dungeons and Dragons. Many experiences because of Dungeons and Dragons. And I am manifold sentient because of Dungeons and Dragons. All these things have come from Dungeons and Dragons, right? So but I genuinely thought that Matthew Mercer was like kind of a purple unicorn. It turns out he's not, right? This guy has found a completely different path to make his day job from Dungeons and Dragons. That's absolutely incredible, right? Now I don't understand why, because I don't understand why anybody would give him a single penny, but he doesn't need my understanding, right? He has created a second Mercer position, right? That is truly incredible, right? Now, what's interesting is, so let's get to the politics part, right? So this guy, D4 D&D Deep Dive, he's one of these channels. Oh, it's above me to talk about politics and D&D. I'm not going to do that. Well, guess what? Here he is talking about politics, right? So he got to the point where he needed to change his YouTube membership, right? And so there's actually I am a YouTube community member for Grace Randolph, and actually I'm at the Ruby level, right? Which is like I have been supporting her monthly for 4 years, right? Like I'm a community member who pays to get particular perks, right? So what this guy did was he came and he said, "Hey, everybody, I'm a socialist, and capitalism can bargain itself," right? And so he came on, and to his credit, he did realize this was incredibly controversial. And he said, "Hey, if you're out there and you're super diamond, platinum, double, platinum bars, whatever level you're at, I don't care. If you give me $5, I'm going to give you the same thing that people give me $100 a month giving. Because socialism. I'm a socialist." What? I was like, wait, what? What now? Now, first of all, that is highly political, right? Saying F capitalism and up with socialism. Or I was like, wait, when did we become a communist nation? Are you sending this out of some communist nation? And I didn't think. And that's the other thing is, man, oh man, I thought this dude was an American. He talked like American, looked like an American. I'm like, hey, what? But he might be coming out of a communist country because he's like, hey, socialism up, capitalism down, right? And he's like, if you give me $5 a month, you don't get anything more than the person who gives me. If you give me $100 a month, you get the same junk the $5 a month person gets. What? I'm like, So first of all, I think that's a terrible idea. I think that's incredibly rude of him. I think it's incredibly disrespectful to his users. And now I will say, I'm impressed with the way he did it, right? And he said, hey, if you don't think that's fair, I understand, and it's okay for you to stop supporting me. That thumbs up for that. Thumbs up for that. And I do think that everybody who's paying him $100 should immediately stop, or jump out and then jump back in at the $5 level. It doesn't make any sense to give you $100 for something that you're going to get for $5, right? And so one, I was just fascinated. Like, here we are, right? Like, this guy's rolling along, not talking about politics. And my point is, Dungeons & Dragons is all about American politics. Dungeons & Dragons is all about American politics. Dungeons & Dragons is all about American politics, right? So, and also, I'm going to collect my check, man. Everything I've been doing for 5 years, people coming and starting to do it now. Everybody's starting to do it, right? I've been talking about D&D and politics together for 5 years, right? Now, D4, D&D deep dives, D&D and politics. Here we are, right? Now, I got the politics completely wrong, right? He's like F capitalism, and let me give a big old embrace to communism. Got the politics completely wrong, right? But he is discussing it. So I found this absolutely fascinating, that there are no holdouts left. Everybody is talking about D&D and politics now, which it's nice to have company. Every single word you just heard is my humble opinion. The important part is when I get to hear your humble opinion, when you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider subscribing, and have a fetch millennium.